Hello, I'm Bill Wade, a captain with the Tampa Fire Department. The training program you are about to see was produced by our department in cooperation with several other agencies. We are presenting the program in this way because there are some 500 firefighters serving in 21 different fire stations throughout the city. This mechanism allows us to reach all of those personnel at one time. We also hope to show you, the citizen, how your fire department works in coordination with other agencies to provide you the best emergency medical care available. The purpose of this program is to reinforce training that our firefighters and paramedics have already received in the proper use of medical helicopters. The decision to use a medevac helicopter is one that requires a great deal of serious consideration. The aeromedical evacuation is a valuable commodity and is used with some increased degree of risk to both the rescuers and the patients. Used under the right conditions, the aeromedical helicopter can provide a high degree of medical care and decrease transport time to the hospital. The types of patients that are typically transported by a helicopter are those who are seriously injured, burned, or are otherwise in a life-threatening situation. In the Tampa area, we're very fortunate to have a well-coordinated effort between paramedics, the medical helicopters, and the major hospitals. This training program will first show you a dramatization that demonstrates the proper use of a medical helicopter. Then there will be a step-by-step breakdown informing the viewer of the general guidelines for safe helicopter procedures. We hope that you will find this program both informative and entertaining.
Tampa Fire Rescue, what is your emergency? Okay, sir, where did he fall from?
Rescue 11.
From the roof? Okay, how high is that roof, do you think?
Signal 6.
About 30 feet?
Signal 6,
Okay, is the
20,
person still
15 an
breathing? Okay, is the patient still conscious? Okay, what is the address there, sir? Where in the park is he located at? Okay, sir, we're going to get some units on the way, but what I need you to do in the first place is just keep him calm, try not to move him. If he should go unconscious or stop breathing before we get there, call us right back at 911, but we're on the way for you. Okay, sir, we'll get him on the way. Rescue 1, Engine 1, fall, located at the construction site at 105-309 Industrial Park Road, 10:15 hours. Rescue 1.
Rescue 1, notify St. Joe Trauma Center. We've got a pre-hospital trauma alert. How old are you, buddy?
Don't move.
Oh, 30.
We've got a 30-year-old male who fell approximately 30 feet on the concrete. I'll call him in a few minutes for more information. And give me a helicopter en route.
QSR Rescue. Rescue 1 on the travel alert for St. Joe, and we'll get the helicopter en route, 10:33 hours.
CareFlight operations. Yes, I am. Thank you. Yes, CareFlight is available. Go ahead.
This will be for a 30-year-old male who fell approximately 30 feet onto some concrete. The address will be 105-309 Industrial Park Road. Rescue 1 or Engine 1 will be your contact on frequency 1 for LZ information. Rescue 1 or Engine 1 will get back in touch with you shortly for more information about the patient.
CareFlight crew, need your emergency call. Industrial accident. Patient fell approximately 30 feet. Possible head injuries. All units.
Unit 10. Unit 20. Unit 30.
Control to Rescue 1. St. Joe has been notified of your trauma alert. CareFlight is en route and will be coming up on frequency 1 for LZ information.
CareFlight 1, you have a distance and direct report, please?
CareFlight 1, distance off St. Joe's 10 nautical miles, bearing 018. This will be 105-309 Industrial Park Road. Tampa Fire contact shall be Engine 1, Rescue 1.
Roger.
I need someone to set up the helicopter landing zone. Okay, all my guys are busy helping you. I'll take care of the landing zone. Okay, we're going to start an IV now, and the helicopter's on the way.
Stay calm, we'll be here soon.
Rescue 1, this is CareFlight.
Rescue 1.
We're just a couple minutes out. Do you have any landing instructions?
CareFlight, I got a clear level field here for you. No obstructions in the immediate area. Bring it in facing the cones.
Mr. Jones? Hey. We got a 30-year-old fell 30 feet onto the concrete. On our arrival, he was A&O ×3, but they say he had lost consciousness prior to our arrival. He's got no sensation or movement from the waist down. When we first got here, his BP was 86/50, his pulse was 120. After we had played the mask suit, blood pressure was 96/60, and the pulse was 110.
Good.
Got the 2 IVs, 14 gauge with ringers going.
Great. Good job. I'm just gonna listen to his lung sounds real quick.
Okay.
You take a deep breath through your mouth.
Would you put
for me?
these leads on, please?
Yeah.
Good. Again. All right. Do you have anything underneath your mask suit here?
No, it's negative.
Moving this feet?
Not at all.
No? You feel me touching you here? Yeah. Right here.
Would you put this blood pressure cuff on, please? Bill, can you reach his finger?
Sure.
Okay, looks like we got a sinus rhythm, 76. What's your name?
Gary.
Gary. Where do you hurt, Gary?
Oh, my head hurts. I can't feel my legs.
Can't feel your legs, okay. Do you hurt anywhere in your chest? Okay, what we're going to do is, on the count of 3, we'll lift him up on the backboard and take his hard backboard and set it on here, okay? So let's get in position to do that.
Hey guys, we make sure the end of the board doesn't come past here. We'll be in good shape.
Okay.
You
All
ready?
right. Is everybody ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we have straps.
You want to pass the O2 down here? We're hooking up.
Is there a trauma on the phone?
Here's what we got on so far.
Thanks.
Great.
Okay, and let's go ahead and put him on the stretcher. When we lift this up, let's slide the stretcher underneath, okay? All right. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. How you doing, Gary? All right. Did you say his abdomen was non-tender?
Negative.
Okay. All right, we're looking good. We have sinus rhythm 70 and O2 sat 99. Are you getting enough air, Gary?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just have 4 of us go over to the helicopter then.
Okay. Ready? Let's go ahead and lift it up. 1, 2, 3. Good deal.
Okay, I'll take these.
How's that breathing doing?
Thanks a lot.
St. Joe. This is Rescue 1, Paramedic Jones, with further information on our patient coming to you via CareFlight. Trauma patient's a 30-year-old male who fell approximately 30 feet onto concrete. Patient was alert and oriented ×3 on our arrival, but there was a report of loss of consciousness prior to our arrival. Our initial BP was 86/50, pulse rate was 120, and the respiratory rate was 20. We've applied a mask suit. We've got 2 ringers, 14 gauge, and the patient has received full spinal immobilization. The current blood pressure 96/60, pulse rate 110, respiratory rate 16. QSL St. Joe?
Here, let me see you wiggle your fingers. Hold up your fingers. That's good. Let me see you wiggle the fingers on your left hand. Hold them up for me. Attaboy, that's good, good. Okay, we're going to be landing right now, Gary. It's going to feel a little bit funny right before we touch the ground.
What you've just seen was a dramatization of an emergency rescue scene involving the trauma network and emergency medical helicopter. Helicopters are being used more than ever for emergency medical services. The ability of helicopters to get in and out of accident scenes in remote areas quickly has greatly improved the chances of survival of patients who otherwise might not have survived a long ambulance ride to the hospital. It is important for all EMS responders to know how, where, and when to call for a medevac helicopter. The objectives of this video are to know when to call for a helicopter, essential information that should be relayed to medevac agencies, landing site requirements, general safety rules when working around the helicopter, and to have an understanding of the capabilities of the differing types of helicopters currently in service in the EMS industry. A medevac helicopter should be considered in situations of life-threatening illness or injury, where transport by ground would take greater time than air, and lengthy transport time is detrimental to patient outcome. Remember, it will take at least 15 minutes for the helicopter to rotor up, respond, and arrive, so if you can be at or near the trauma center in this amount of time, then ground transport should commence without delay. In Florida, the criteria for trauma alert, which is life-threatening injury requiring rapid transport to an appropriate facility, is as follows. Respiratory rate less than 10 or greater than 29, systolic blood pressure less than 90, Glasgow Coma Scale less than 13 unless this is the patient's normal condition, penetrating injury to the head, neck, chest, abdomen, or groin, second or third degree burns of greater than 15% body surface area, paralysis, amputation proximal to the wrist or ankle, or ejection from a motor vehicle other than motorcycle. You may also call for a helicopter for acute medical conditions such as suspected aortic aneurysm or other conditions that may warrant immediate medical intervention. When requesting a medevac helicopter, there is certain essential information that should be given to the medevac agency. The agencies involved should set up standard operating procedures ahead of time so that the medevac agency will know the requesting agency's callback telephone number and radio frequency to be used to communicate with the landing zone marshal. Relative to the patient, the medevac agency will need to know the nature and extent of injury and the patient's age and name if possible. Also, if any additional equipment should be brought to the scene, such as an extra backboard in a multiple casualty situation, whole blood, or even a physician, the helicopter dispatcher will need to be notified of this at the time of initial request. with regard to the landing zone, include not only the address, but landmarks visible by air such as major cross streets, railroad tracks, large buildings, and water towers. Designating appropriate landmarks is even more helpful at night, as limited visibility obscures some landmarks that may be easily identifiable during the day. Also important is local weather conditions, which should be relayed to the helicopter dispatcher. Finally, if the patient has been exposed to hazardous materials, the flight crew will need to be notified, and the patient will have to be decontaminated prior to being placed in the helicopter. There are two main types of helicopters used for EMS today. These are single-engine and twin-engine aircraft. Each helicopter has different capabilities. In general, however, single-engine helicopters require less time to start, use less fuel, and cost less to operate. Twin-engine helicopters may offer an increased safety margin and usually provide for increased payload, but require more maintenance and more time to start than single-engine aircraft. While the helicopter is responding to assist EMS personnel, a member of the crew must be designated to be the landing zone marshal. The job of the landing zone marshal is to assist the helicopter in landing by ensuring a safe and secure area. The landing zone marshal should have radio contact with the flight crew prior to landing. The landing zone should be a smooth, level area with less than 8% grade, which is free of all rubbish, overhead wires, trees, signs, vehicles, or other obstructions. The size of the landing zone should be at least 60 feet by 60 feet in the daytime, and at least 100 feet by 100 feet at night or during inclement weather. When finding the landing zone, a glide path for helicopter approach should also be considered. At night, nearby objects such as trees and power poles should be illuminated, but do not shine any lights directly at the aircraft. Use a small strobe or cone to designate the landing zone, but do not use lit flares. Notify the pilot by radio of any scene hazards prior to landing. While the helicopter is landing, turn off your vehicle headlights and close all vehicle doors. When the helicopter is on the ground, a crew member will be needed to lead the flight crew to the patient. Always remember that the pilot has the final say in where and when the helicopter will land. From his vantage point, he may see a better landing zone and opt to land there. If this occurs, the landing zone marshal should move quickly to that area and assist in landing zone setup and security.
I'm Bruce Kurtz, pilot with St. Joseph's CareFlight in Tampa. And I'm here to discuss safety aspects of operating or moving around the aircraft while it's on the ground from the pilot's point of view. When you're approaching the aircraft on the ground, never do so until signaled to do so by the pilot, and always make sure the pilot has you in view when you are approaching the aircraft. Always approach the aircraft from the front or the side, where the pilot, again, can keep in visual contact with you, and avoid at all times approaching the aircraft from the rear or tail area. The tail rotor on the helicopter turns at a very high rate of speed, and it's very difficult to see when you're on the ground walking around the area, and it is very, very dangerous to walk around the tail rotor because of this visibility problem. So always approach from the front or the side of the aircraft. If there are spectators in the area of the aircraft, they must be kept at least 100 feet away from the aircraft, again for safety reasons because of blowing material and turning rotor blades. Vehicles should remain at least 30 feet away, and nobody should be smoking within at least 50 feet of the aircraft. When you are approaching the aircraft, it's wise to crouch somewhat when approaching. If you have any types of antennas, radios, or other implements that might be held above your head, such as IV bottles or things of that nature, they should be kept down at shoulder level or lower, and do approach with a bit of a crouch. You don't need to crawl to the aircraft, but a slight crouch is advisable. Always maintain visual contact with a member of the flight crew. If for some reason you should not approach the aircraft, they would know that and be able to signal you or tell you what needs to be done. So maintain visual contact with a flight crew member. In the event there is hazardous material in the landing zone area, the pilot needs to be notified of this prior to arrival at the landing zone, so he can avoid that hazardous material or hazardous item on the arrival and landing, as well as notify the flight crew so they will know what to avoid once they are on the ground and outside of the aircraft.
I'd like to further discuss
safety with regard to medical care of the patient and medical crew caring for the patient. C-spine immobilization should be accomplished prior to loading the patient into the helicopter, and if the patient is combative or is potentially going to be combative, restraints should also be applied, wrist restraints as well as ankle restraints. Rotor wash tends to be a problem during patient loading, and patients should be shielded from rotor wash and debris that is kicked up by that, and personnel assisting in the loading should take appropriate precautions. Personnel safety also encompasses carrying equipment no higher than shoulder height. This is of the utmost importance when approaching the helicopter for patient loading. Coordinate efforts during loading with those efforts of the flight crew. Should the patient's IV lines become entangled or should equipment need to be moved to a different location during the loading, you must be tuned into the flight crew's signals so that appropriate actions can be taken. Limit the number of personnel assisting with patient loading to 4. When it comes time to depart the area, the flight crew will take care of closing the helicopter doors, and at that time, all personnel assisting on the ground should leave the area of the landing zone.
This presentation was intended to enhance your training and safety awareness when your patient needs a medevac helicopter. It is important that your agency contact the medevac service that responds to your area and establish protocols and SOPs for use of the medevac helicopter. It is suggested that in addition to establishing SOPs, your agency coordinate training sessions with the medevac service to further improve your knowledge of helicopter procedures. Remember, the decision to use a medevac helicopter is one that requires a great deal of consideration. Aeromedical evacuation is a very valuable commodity and is used with some increased degree of risk to both the rescuer and the patient. The procedures shown in this presentation are meant to help you decide when it's in your patient's best interest to request a medevac helicopter and how you can reduce some of the inherent risks involved. It is our hope that the information provided here will be used as part of your ongoing safety training program so that if you ever need to request an aeromedical evacuation for a patient, it will be done in the safest and best way possible.